I've learned from truck driver jargon is those four-wheelers slamming their brakes on and cutting in front of them and just doing stupid things, and they don't realize they can't just stop on a dime just like a car, just like an SUV. Give those truck drivers a little break, literally. Don't be on their tail. You have no idea what these guys are on, for one, if that truck driver is on something, or what's actually in the truck. Some of that stuff is flammable. We could see in Atlanta what happened to the interstate over there. Yeah. It could cause a lot of deaths, a lot of injuries by doing something stupid. But there are aggressive drivers. I am just amazed at how many they are. But, man, just leave those truck drivers alone, will you? Be careful with those truck drivers. And, man, just as scary to think that with all those millions of pounds that they're on crystal meth, all jacked up to try to stay awake so they can just pick up the next load and be done with it. Here's and leave this to the LA Times because they come out with, some garbage that kind of agitate it. I call them agitators. Don Lee, he's a contract reporter, Don Lee, for the LA Times. And he goes on to say in his article, this has to do with Trump's ambitions for the North American Free Trade Agreement. And he comes out by saying in the beginning of his news story, he says, far from the sweeping trade overhaul that Donald Trump promised on the campaign trail, his administration is considering surprisingly modest revamp of the North American Free Trade Agreement, according to the draft letter provided to Congress. But they don't have any reference to any of it. The objections outlined would bolster Trump's emphasis on Buy America, including giving greater preferences for U.S. companies in government procurement. Are these bad things at Los Angeles Times? You know, it's like it's anti-American if you say Buy American. Again, it's the left-wingers that say, "Oh no, you're an inclusionist. You're a bigot. You're a racist." It's these same groups complaining. But he goes on, he says, but the draft includes none of the harsh punitive measures or steep tariffs he once threatened against Mexico. Neither does it crack down on currency manipulation or weak labor regulations, things critics of free trade in particular have long sought. Really? You think Hillary Clinton, LA Times, do you think that Bill Clinton, LA Times, were fighting for free, fair trade? Do you think that they really cared about tariffs? They could care less because they didn't implement them. And in TPP, if that was such a problem under Obama, LA Times, then why in the world would they have gone ahead with that hook, line, and sinker? Donald Trump knows what he's talking about. Obviously, the Los Angeles Times doesn't know what they're talking about, and not a surprise. And yes, it's a contract reporter, Don Lee. It's amazing how they manipulate the news. Oh, see, Donald Trump's not doing any of this. It was all rhetoric. And look at the health care. It's all rhetoric. It's just because the Freedom Caucus said it wasn't a total replacement. It wasn't a total repeal because it had a 99.99% of the same language that was in it under Obamacare. And I'm like, really? Honestly, to goodness, really? Give me a break. All us Americans know is higher premiums. And when it comes down to free trade, we've lost how many jobs? Hundreds of thousands of jobs. And we have millions on unemployment. At the unemployment lines, even today, getting their checks or underemployed or unemployed. Off the radar. There's Americans who haven't even been on the books for decades. Haven't even and have stopped looking for jobs because a lot of these places, because their families are there, they can't even find a job. anyways, it's interesting to kind of peruse around and see what people are saying early on about their objections about free trade and Buy American. For me, this American, I like to see a made in the USA flag on my item, proudly made, and we have some coffee mugs that we're making with our logo for the people, and we're going to make them for sale shortly. But the coffee mugs are made in the USA, and they were made here with the ink, made in the USA. And they'll be at a fair price. We have to include shipping, but they're great. And I love to see American workers to work, making money as they should. And it's just the right thing to do. And because greedy politicians, these lobbyists that they have to pay off, have decided to try to leave us all in the dark about these bigger, more grandiose decisions. Let that be to the higher level. Don't you mind what we have to do here for you. Remember, these people we send to Washington, these are servants to the American people, and they need to be held accountable. Don't be a goat. Don't be a sheep following. Be smarter than that. And most of America is smarter than that. We wanted to believe that they had our best interest in mind, but will we learn? Because if we don't learn, we're going to repeat it over and over and over again. That's where the accountability part comes in. That's where voting for the right people and seeing what they're doing. And for too long, even our own party, the Republicans, have not put their money where their mouth is. They have an opportunity now to do that because we may not have it for a long, long time. Folks, an hour goes fast. For the people, we need your help. You can become a member to support us and stand by us. Remember, we got that media initiative. We're trying to push more stations, let more people know about it. If you'd like to make a one-time donation, you can do that at forthepeopleshow.com, and we appreciate it greatly. Thank the local radio station for caring for the people. Find us on Facebook today and weigh in on any of the subjects. Keith Allen, For the People, saying all the best. May God bless.